do a quick live, just get used to it and get back to the action and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But right now, man, we're just gonna talk about how a negative environment early on can set you up for failure and things like that. Those early influences are going to be the same things that a person is going to have to deal with when they're an adult. And here's the thing: these are just residues, influences, energies, thoughts and feelings, opinions, based upon experiences that we do, just based upon the environment that we grew up in. So let's say an individual grew up in a negative environment. Well, then, and let's say that negative environment demonized, attacked that person, then that person is probably going to grow up to have a negative self-concept or a negative self-image about themselves, and they're probably going to operate based upon that self-image, because that self-image is now how they see themselves, and that self-image is how they feel about themselves. And so if a person sees and feels about themselves badly, then they will probably think and do externally bad. Saying, and it's not that people are dumb, it's not that people are slow, it's not that people are retarded. It's that people have thoughts and feelings that cause them to be retarded. So retarded just means basically like slow to learn, slow to understand type stuff like that, right? The only thing that can cause that is the person themselves. Like, a negative self-opinion a lot of the times can cause a person to move and operate in a very low vibrational way, but they don't need to operate in that low vibrational way as they're choosing that. Because for me, for the most part, looking at the past, the only way you can operate low vibrationally is if you choose to stick and believe experiences, is if you choose to believe those past experiences. And a lot of the times, our past experiences may hold sway on who we currently are because it's subconsciously ingrained in us. So now it's just about taking our attention, energy, and putting that into other, people, places, and things, so we can work, get out of it. It's almost like when you spend so much time into something, just via the environment that you grew up in and stuff like that, you almost have to put yourself in a different environment. You can develop a new mind. So you can contract out of these old ways of being, these states of being, and create a new state of being and things like that. And the body and the mind is so familiar and so used to it, it will always try to trick you back into them because that's what it's used to. So if a person grew up in an environment that promoted fear, that promoted shame, that promoted guilt, that's going to be their default mode that they operate in. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy work to get out of default mode because it's subconscious, and it's like the subconscious mind runs a person's reality, and it does it below the detection threshold. Like, people just think like they react like this, like, based upon how they feel and stuff like that. A person feels really an emotional bias that has nothing to do with the reality. So reality just needs to be looked at for what it is. You know what I'm saying? But that early emotional programming, the early emotional programming is going to be one of the things that an individual has to deal with, because these feelings is not even really us. And then second of all, and then being in that environment of fear, shame, and guilt will actually make you not want to be your genuine authentic self. Because if your genuine authentic self was hated, disrespected, they told you, whatever they told you and shit like that, chances are it's going to be difficult to bring that person out. Why? Because you were already not validated on that. You were told that shit is not shit. So it's going to be difficult to bring that person out. It's really just the energetic residues that overlay a person's awareness and consciousness from just expressing their authenticity and who they truly are. You know what I'm saying? Down to even just getting into the whole inner healing, dealing with the internal wounds and stuff like that, it gets really interesting, because either a person will allow their programming, their experiences, their childhood to overwhelm them, and here's the thing: even if there is negativity in the mind, we're still supposed to take actions regarding these thoughts and feelings that occupy our mind, because every time we take action, we really prove to our subconscious we are who we say we are. Because that's all these thoughts and feelings are there, all that negativity is there for. Just to see, it's like, okay, do you really want to be you? Do you really want to graduate out of that old space that you was in? And every day going to be an uphill battle. The mind's gonna try to trick you, because the mind and the body at the end just want to survive. They just want to stay with what's comfortable, what's familiar. It's a lot of the times, for example, people drive to work the same way. People don't drive to work any different way. That lets you know how the mind works. The mind just like to go with what's familiar to it and things like that, right? So it can be very, I guess, daunting, or I guess the idea itself, because humans are creatures of habit and stuff like that. So the idea for humans to change or anything like that can be very scary, because we just identify with these experiences, identify with these thoughts and feelings, identify with a certain mental framework. But again, like all things in existence change, the seasons change, everything, and everyone's really changing. But the question is, either we're changing for the better, or either we're changing for the worse, because it's like there's no in between, you know. In between, either a person's changing for the better or changing for the worse. And if a person is not doing any type of energy work, then chances are they're probably sinking more into their own darkness, into their own what they believe and things like that. Because a lot of times what creates our reality is just simply what we believe in. A lot of these circumstances and environments that we were raised in, and these experiences we believe in so much. Oh, and we did physically go through these things, sure. People who abuse, and all forms of thing that leave a vibrational scar on them. But at the end of the day, we're still here as adults, and now it's like, okay, now that I'm an adult, do I get out of this or do I stay in this, and stuff like that, right? And it's much easier to just stay in it because that is what's familiar. But again, so personally, do I want to keep experiencing the same reality over and over and over again? Because it's literally like the movie Groundhog's Day, right? In Groundhog's Day, the movie, the kid literally wakes up and experiences the same day, again and again and again, and they can't get out of it no matter what they do, and they're just getting more chaotic, more chaotic, more chaotic, more chaotic, right? And so that's like most people's lives for the most part. They repeat the same program, just through different people, places, and things, but it's still the same spirit. It's still that same familiar spirit and shit like that, right? So I have to ask myself, like anyone that wants to grow, they have to sit back, self-reflect, self-assess, and observe themselves, and be like, damn, am I gonna go in the direction of that thought and feeling today, or am I gonna create my own narrative, my own direction, and stay consistently on that? Because it's like shifting for one day is not enough. Like this to become like a lifestyle, where it's like spirituality is not just like a one day trick pony. This shit has to become a lifestyle. And then I think that's one of the first things that I feel that is making this shit into like a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like it's easy to take shit as just a hobby, But if permanent change requires a permanent lifestyle, a permanent change requires just really being honest with the self, first of all. Because it's like people want to change their lives, the most important thing is self-honesty and things like that. And I think it's really easy to deceive oneself and lie to oneself about why they are where they're at, and things of that nature. Just tell yourself like, okay, now it's someone else's fault. Now it's the money or whatever like that. But at the end of the day, like we're spirit, and if we're spirit, then that means there's infinity ways something can come about. And I think a part of that fear programming early on is that I'll end up stressing how something is going to happen in their lives, and that's what basically makes them like a devil almost, where it's like, okay, I'm going to stress, I'm going to worry about how something's going to come, try to control the universe. No one can really control the universe. No one knows what's going to happen tomorrow. The only thing we can do is just really be in a healthy space internally, and then just based upon our internal state of being, we'll start to attract and grab things that are in that same energy, essentially. So sitting, stressing, and worrying, and all these things, like, they don't really do nothing. It's like the Bible says. I think just worrying about today is sufficient. Just do what you need to do today, and then tomorrow is a new day. It's a new dawn. You'll get new feelings based upon that path that a person is walking on. But if that path is still that same reality that we've been familiarized by, children at our early development, especially if it's an environment of fear, worry, guilt, and doubt, and like that's gonna be the first thing that a person has to deal with, those early influences, because those influences gonna be the residue in a person's subconscious, and that's where they're gonna create their reality from. A lot of people create their reality from that sub residue, basically that early environment that they've experienced, whether it's an environment of fear, worry, doubt, guilt, and shame, depending on if you grew up in a religious environment, or you may have grown in a more affluent environment that supported your vision and supported your authentic, genuine self. So you may not really be in that category. But for a lot of people, their true expression, who they are, doesn't really get supported and stuff like that. So they gotta, work when they grow up, and really work to be their genuine, authentic self and stuff like that. It's really easy to be fake, and in fact, in this world, you'll probably get paid. You'll probably get way further more if you're just being fake. Like, it's easy to just be fake and the narrative, but it's very difficult to be genuine and authentic and do your own thing. It's looked at as, can be looked at in so many different ways. But, if a person is a good magician, they'll know how to put it in like in a good light to see, because a lot of these things just take like wisdom and understanding, like, the bias that people come from and things like that. And we all, for the most part, have a bias we operate from. I call it like an operational bias. But see, that operational bias just comes from that early childhood development, whether a person was raised to cater to a religion or to a particular culture or to a particular ideology. Now, there's nothing wrong with these things, but I'm working personally to expand that operational bias, because I know it's a bias about reality, right? Because reality is just, we just happen to look at it based upon our programming. What if we got rid of all the program, all the beliefs, all the thoughts, all the feelings, and we just saw stuff for what it is? We're just in a state of being, in a mental space where we're just purely observing reality without our emotional bias. I think humanity would probably be at a way better stage, at a way better space than where we are at right now, because everyone is fighting each other. Like, you got religious warfare, you got all these different things because of people's operational bias, how people feel. And it's just crazy because people don't want to deal with their own feelings. They'd rather take that and force that on you or some shit like that. And here's the thing. People that don't deal with their feelings, for the most part, they really just self-reflecting. Because it's like people that don't deal with their own mind, don't process their emotions, they take their own thoughts and feelings and throw it on you. Because it's basically like a curse. Like, are themselves in a negative space will put you in a negative space, because that's what subconsciously, that's where they're going to want you to be at as well. So this is just, most humanity is in a negative space. So don't expect anyone to try to put you in a positive space, because people get off even on putting other people in a negative space or cursing other motherfuckers out to make themselves feel good, to make themselves feel high on power. But that's just an artificial sense of power that comes from the external world. The moment, what's the point of that? That's stupid. So true power really comes from within. True power really comes from balance. True power really comes, because a lot of people don't even have the ability, like, I don't want to say choose what they I just say choose what they manifest, because a lot of people are operating based upon that internal operational bias, that program. So they end up just catering to that one emotion, one bias, or that one feeling, and they just go that route all the way. They don't really have the capability to expand their mind and look at things from multiple angles and stuff like that. And that's the difference between people that kind of like live in the flesh, versus people that live in the spirit, that are kind of like able to view the multitudes of how something may happen, or just understand and discern the spirit within people via observing them and stuff like that, right? And things like that, right? But see, it's easy to live in the flesh, because again, there's a lot of things that make a person live in the flesh. It could be lust, shit. It could be, there's nothing wrong with these things. Once more, it's just about managing these things and not letting these things get out of hand, because anything done to any type of extremity will create some type of imbalance, whether it's biological, whether it's mental. Now, you can go far and be passionate and aggressive about your purpose and shit like that, and that could be like a good version of that, being extreme about a purpose in life and stuff like that, right? But in other areas, when it comes to dealing with the flesh and shit, like, you create a lot of problems down the line, because it's like the spirit itself is against the flesh. So the more a person can get into their flesh, their spirit just get lost in it, and it become harder for that spirit to get out of that, flesh and shit like that, which is basically like operating more so based upon just catering to the flesh, catering to the 3D world, like worrying about money, worrying about these like physical things. Like, we truly don't know how a person's even gonna get money. I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna get paid. I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, but it's not my job to worry and stress about it, because I'm making things work. I'm making my mind heavy. I'm making my spirit denser rather than making my spirit lighter, so I can actually just be more free, have more options. It's really, really unlimited ways things can happen. No one knows how something is gonna happen. For real. So, there's no point of stressing about shit. Like, actually just like, second of all, fuck YouTube, to be honest with you. Because like, a lot of people want likes, a lot of people worry about views, but who gives a fuck about that? The whole point is just to do something that you're passionate about. Do something that you actually like. And when you find that something that you're passionate about, you're going to go all the way with it, regardless of what the YouTube has to say. So it's like, quite frankly, fuck YouTube. Because if you think about it, we're actually the content creator. We're giving YouTube the fuel every single day. without people like me wouldn't be shit. YouTube without creative content creators wouldn't be it. So YouTube as a platform itself is not shit, and it doesn't really matter either. You are the shit because you are the creator. They have to harness your creativity. They have to put forward a structure and a system for you to jump, which is smart. It's smart, I'm not gonna lie. It's smart to put a structure there and be like, yeah, here, all of you guys jump on this and, fuel this platform and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, it's smart. And nothing really, they understand the game and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So, ain't nothing really wrong with it, But it's understanding like, okay, we have the power, you have the power, and at the end of the day, it's up to us to utilize it every single motherfucking day, right? Every single day is a new day to take action, to make a choice towards that path that a person beyond and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, that pattern, that subconscious pattern is going to try to pull you back, convince you, nah, and it's really aiming internally and shit like that, right? It's going to convince you like, nah, don't do that. Nah, don't feel this way. Nah, don't take that action and shit like that, right? Because it's what the subconscious mind has been familiarized with. So through my journey, it's kind of like you almost like lose your mind and body to else externally outside of you. Like, let's say the programming, the thoughts and feelings of other people, the opinions they continue to operate on. And when a person's spiritually awakened, they gotta almost go on a journey to take their mind and body back. Like their heart chakra might be occupied with a bunch of feelings that ain't even theirs. You know what I'm saying? Like these centers of energies might have thoughts and feelings occupying them that are not really, that are just because all this shit came from this world. We're just spirits and shit like that. We can connect with a higher being and shit like that. And the other thing is the people that run this world benefit from us being in a low vibrational energy and shit like that. Being in fear, being in worry, being in stress. All that uncertainty about what's going to happen in reality. And so when you're uncertain, when you're afraid, when a person is worried, when a person is scared, it's easy for a politician to come and, hey, I'm gonna come save you. Just come vote at the pizza party at the dinner, and me, blah 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 blah. But how about it be motherfucking us? How about we put the power in motherfucking us? How about we believe in we, not the fucking government? Because the government don't represent no motherfucking people. They never did, never will. They'll tell you they will. They might give you a little breadcrumb here and there if a person is smart enough. They'll never really be there for you the way you could be there for you. You and I be there for us better than anyone else. So why the hell in God's goddamn earth would I give that savior shit to anyone else? No, save your fucking self. Save yourself. Because no one save you other than you. Like, at the end of the day, no one can save you other than you. And that's the beauty in it too. Because that's like God giving you the authority and the power to help you, without needing any type of external source. You are the source. You are the power. You are the magistrate. If you're gonna let someone else judge you and be over you, that's like a spiritual error type shit, you know what I'm saying? But with that being said, wise individuals, a lot of wisdom and things like that. I know it's important to also heed the call of people that have more experiences and have, went through the spiritual development and understand as well. Because, it can save time, it can save energy, blah, blah, right? So it's also good to have like a mentor and stuff like that. Because a mentor can help a person save a lot of time, save a lot of energy than just sitting there and, going through all the trials and errors, which there is nothing really wrong with. And as a man, a person should go through these things. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake. In fact, I should make a bunch of fucking mistakes. There's nothing wrong with it. A mistake is just a learning lesson and shit like that. Like whenever I do something and I get rejected, I just remind myself, oh shit, that's just verse redirecting me because this person, place, or thing is not for me. So I'm like, oh shit, thank you, universe. And then boom, you move on to the next person. And then, oh shit, this person supports you. So it's just like that. It's literally, the universe is like indifferent. It don't really hate, it don't really support anyone personally. It's just about how strong a person is personally to, the way through. And then like, that's the person that the universe and just like, let's just say different spirits is going to want to support because they're going to be the widest reaching in nature and stuff like that, right? And so I think, and at the end of the day, this is what we're all doing as spirits. We're all just expanding our awareness. But the first battle is going to be that early childhood development, those early influences that affect a person's mind, that prevent them from, operating from their authentic, genuine self. Because a lot of those early experiences basically trap a person. If you were raised in an environment of fear, your spirit and your flesh is conditioned to observe and stuff like that. And so those early influences is going to be the things that a person have to fight out of. And when you fight your way out of these things, then it's going to, the universe open up to you, because now you're no longer observing fear via these past experiences, thoughts and feelings that are really, what do you call it? Bubbling up from the subconscious mind, basically. When you stop observing these thoughts and feelings that are bubbling from based upon fear, based upon doubt, based upon worry, then a person is able to actually observe reality for what it is and start to put in the footwork and shit like that. You know what I mean? So that's just the first battle. Early childhood experiences, negativity, city, the survival mindset. But once a person get out of that, they're going to have more possibility. But see, again, the mind is going to fight you to get you back into that, because there's no in between. You either fully all the way righteous or just like an in between phony. And don't be no in between phony, because you're going to waste your time and energy. You're going to waste a lot of other people's time and energy, because, you should take yourself seriously and other people want to take you seriously too. So, you should operate just as one who is truly righteous. Go all the way with it, all the way through with it, not halfway. Going halfway is not going to serve you. It's going to actually make the pattern worse. Not getting out of the pattern, like, is going to make things worse. Because it's like you're going to be kind of programming your spirit. Oh, I've been there, done that. I tried it already. I tried to make it out of the pattern, but, I got pulled back into it. So I guess there's no point of trying. See, that's what it is right there. Like, go all the way with it. This way you don't have to suffer the casualties of thoughts and feelings developing on your mind, like, oh, I tried to do it but I couldn't do it. No, go all the way. Be fucking obsessed with it. Be passionate, like really desire expansion. Desire to dissolve all thoughts and feelings or beliefs, all worldly conditioning that prevents you being with all possibilities and shit like that. And I think that's all I really want to know. Fuck the worldly conditioning. Source all the way. God damn it, you will prosper if you want to prosper. Because can nobody help you other than motherfucking, I believe that shit. Real stuff. Gotta go to work right now. Just did an early live this morning. I'm gonna see y'all motherfucking later. Peace out. So be like nothing. Man, if you heard this live, man, bruh, if you was watching the live, you would know what the fuck I'm talking about.